His lats looks more striated there than they did at the Olympia.
Yeah.
Remember, his lats weren't really striated at the Olympia. Do you remember? His glutes were crazy, but the lats weren't really like crazy striated. It was like the one body part that wasn't.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. I'm one of your hosts, Big Ron Partlow. Of course, I got Dusty Hanshaw and the producer, Scott McNally, checking in. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Yes, you got to hit that bell. Remember, Patreon, Think Big Bodybuilding Media, keep a producer homed.
Thank you, guys.
So hit the Patreon to support the Think Big channel, and hit the algorithms and the bell and all that stuff to help us out. And remember, IamMutant.com. Go to IamMutant.com. Get your ISO Surge. Get your All In, and everyone should get on the gear. Dusty, I'm excited about the rebirth of Mutant at the Arnold Classic. Yes. Going to see a bunch of new stuff. Everyone's got to come down to the booth and see us. Of course, Scott will be there too. I'm very excited for all the shenanigans at the booth. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'm going to bring my fancy headphones, Scott, so we can look like, real podcasters.
All right.
Fancy. Love it.
Well, they're over ear, like the ones I play guitar with. They look more like Scott's, right?
Yeah.
Very fancy.
So that'll help because it's so noisy in there, right?
Yeah. I think that'll be better. I think we'll be able to hear each other more. It'll be smoother, and the setup's going to be different. Anybody who saw us last year, we're gonna have a couch set up and chairs and stuff, and it's gonna be kind of cool. So I encourage everybody to come by and hang out, and who knows, you might even get on the podcast, because I'm thinking that we'll be able to record on and off throughout. You know what I mean? We see somebody walking by, I'll grab them and be like, "Hey, Ron, I need you for 5 minutes." You know what I mean?
I want the lady with the huge tits.
Yeah,
the giant
one of them.
Remember her? We're having her.
The one that was at the O.
Yeah, remember she was her boobs were as big as my torso, each one.
Yeah, they were they must have been like
thousands.
A gallon. They were a gallon.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, it's bad. They start doing it by the gallon.
Gallon. Think
if
gallon
this was
of
gasoline, you
side,
couldn't
please
afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
Terrible. It's disgusting. We got to have her on though.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the Arnold. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Are we going to actually talk about the competition, the men's open? Are we going to touch on that? Are we going to dare to comment on the actual Arnold Classic? Because, this is not where people go for proper rundowns of competitions. We will most likely get distracted somewhere between the beginning and the end of the list, and I'm sure we're going to miss somebody completely. So what are we going to do, gentlemen? We're going to venture into this a little bit?
Well, I think we should do it and do it poorly. I mean, as well as we can.
As anyone would expect of us.
To start this out, I had something I wanted to show you guys. I don't know if you can tell. This is a hologram cup from the Arnold Classic. It was the official. Arnold was sponsored by Chocolate Milk in 2008. And I got one of these cups to celebrate our show today. This is going to be my official pre-Arnold cup from now on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Arnold was sponsored by Chocolate Milk.
Yeah, it says
that
Chocolate Milk, the official beverage of Arnold.
But
is there a brand?
Turn it around. I think there's
a brand attached to the chocolate
muscle milk.
It just says drinkmilk.com. It says 3 a day: milk, cheese, yogurt,
chocolate,
nourish, energize, rehydrate.
And it said "got milk" right on it. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Turn. Milk. So did the milk like Chocolate Milk had a meeting, and they're like, we're gonna sponsor the Arnold Classic this year.
Yeah.
What year was that again?
I think it was 2008, 2009, but I've saved it because it's a nice plastic hologram cup. The hologram's not showing up here really well.
With bodybuilding, is it because the white ones aren't as good, or what's the deal there?
I don't know. Hey, my Chocolate Milk bodybuilding story goes back to the very beginning. I remember in grade 10, I was going to high school, and when I would finish school every day, I would buy a 500 ml chocolate milk and one of the home baked chocolate chip cookies from the school bakery.
Yeah.
And I would walk. It was about 8 blocks to the gym, and I would walk and drink my chocolate milk and eat my cookie. And I did that every damn day. And then I would go train like, you know, an asshole high school kid with unlimited recovery.
Right.
And it worked.
Look at you now.
See, I feel like that. There's two things about that. One, if I were to drink chocolate milk and then immediately go train back or legs, that would be revisited for sure.
Well, there was enough time. It was an 8-block walk, and you know, I bullshit with my friends for a bit at the gym. You're a high school kid, and you know, go get changed into your gym clothes. There's actually changing into gym clothes occurring at that point in your life, right? You're not just going to the gym completely equipped and ready to. So it was one of those. It was a different life, Dusty. It was a different life.
I'd like some of these younger guys to take that in, though. Like that worked. You know, they're worried about making sure the molecular weight of the carbohydrate that they're eating while they go in to do decline hammer strength press, single armed sideways.
How long is the saccharide chain in this carbohydrate source?
Ron's like, I don't know, but you should try chocolate milk.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm really happy when I start my workout.
There you go.
Right? And full of energy.
Oh, that's so great.
So I prepared some stuff. I wanted to dazzle you guys with some video. So I think we'll all agree that Hadi and Samson are going to be the front runners, right? So I think the fun story will be is who's going to be third, right? I mean, that's probably the story. Maybe not, but regardless, we have some pretty recent footage of the two front runners. So check this out. Here's some Hadi video that I grabbed, and then I've got a back shot of him too. This is from 3 weeks ago now. So he's,
oh man,
you know, you could even be leaner than this. Who knows?
I don't even know.
Here, let me throw up this back shot here. Boom! Look at that. Like, we know he's going to be peeled, right?
Yeah, he's all
we know he's going to be full. Like, he's not going to miss. Hadi does not miss. There's that.
No, he's not going to miss.
Ooh. Oh, I just kept getting wider.
There we go. There we go.
Since the Olympia, he's been training lats because of Derek Lunsford.
Yeah.
His lats looks more striated there than they did at the Olympia.
Yeah.
Remember, his lats weren't really striated at the Olympia. Do you remember? His glutes were crazy, but the lats weren't really like crazy striated. It was like the one body part that wasn't.
Yeah.
And he's got more going on there, it looks like to me.
And I found this shot here of Samson. Let me see if I can bring this up. Boom. Check that out.
That's so pretty. That is so pretty.
Yeah. It's such a classic bodybuilder look from the front.
It really is.
You know what I mean? Like that, like definitionally, what does a bodybuilder look like in the front, relaxed and stuff? And Samson really, that giant, powerful structure, the wide shoulders, and you know that 6-foot frame that's so hard to fill out.
Yeah,
that he absolutely filled out.
Yeah.
Look at his arms. His left arm is absurd looking. Here's the thing for me, like. If you could look like either of them, I gotta look like Samson. I mean, it's just
the frame,
beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And this was 6 days ago, and then he had another shot.
There.
Let's see. Here's him hitting. I think this is the most muscular shot he hit here. Oh, hold on. There we go. It's a short video. Looking peeled from 6 days ago.
Yeah, it's gonna be very dangerous, but the story will be the back double bicep again. Yeah, it is the area that Samson has shown the most improvement on in the last 2-3 years, right? Yep. Remember, like, you know what, just 2 years ago his back double, and then it made that huge jump when he won the Arnold. His back double was like way better. So, and I know we talked about how nobody was really at their best condition at the O. Everyone was just a little bit not their best, you know. So if he improves on last year's Arnold, where he was technically, I think, at his very best, and has a better back double bicep than last year's Arnold, now we're talking about threatening Hadi. But I think unless he can beat Hadi in the back double, it'll be difficult to beat Hadi. I think that's kind of, to me, what the show comes down to in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I think and again, this is purely based on seeing them already, not on what they're. You can't tell how much. You can't tell how much someone has improved when they're as good as him, alone.
Yeah,
as well as you can when you put them next to each other. Because I had him not on my joking responses, but I had him as a very strong possibility to win the Olympia last year.
Yeah,
and as soon as they came out, I was like, oh no. Like it was pretty drastic that he was not ready to beat those top two at that point. So we'll see. The good news is the third place is wide open.
Yeah.
And that's the fun. Like, and everyone, let me real quick. Where is he? Why am I not seeing him?
Who's that?
Akim, Antoine. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Antoine. So I need to eat my words here a little bit, and I want to publicly do it because no one else knows.
Okay.
But I saw pictures of Antoine, I don't know, 2 months ago, and I sent it to you two, and I said, he doesn't look as good as he used to look. He's going backwards. Remember?
Yep. I remember getting that message.
And no one argued with me. It was like, eh. And then a month went by, and I literally sent both of you guys another one and said, I'm going to shut up now. Holy, like, it's the best he has ever been. And I think it's purely because he's mad at me. I think that's what it was. I don't mean to take full credit for why he got really good, but he heard the rumor, and wow.
So I will confirm that that happened. And I also think that, most people don't ever go out of their way to admit that they were wrong about something. So kudos to you, Dusty. You're eating it on that one. And
he's making me.
You're not the only person. I had a couple other people like a few months ago. They were like, Antoine really, like, he's got a lot of work to do. Like, he's a little bit coming from behind here.
Smaller too, though. And now
and again, like, I don't know where he was, when he started his prep, right? He might have been like at his lowest body weight for ages. I didn't really know. I just knew that people had commented to me. And now I've had multiple people say, oh, he's like rocket ship right now. Yeah. So, I love this side leg on Antoine. He's got such good quality in his legs,
Yeah. I love everything on his physique. And I have to point this out because of the lineup. And I think it's good for up and coming bodybuilders to understand too, is as much as everyone goes into a show to win.
Of course.
I mean, if you're competing, you compete to win. But I think it's important to simultaneously remember that whether Antoine, sneaks by everybody and wins, or takes sixth place and comes in his absolute best, anybody who knows bodybuilding is like, damn. Like, you look awesome. And I feel like I've been working with and talking to a lot more, like national level people lately. And a lot of them have that hole in their mindset of just like win or failure. And it's just not how it works in bodybuilding because there's no defense. So I have to bring it up when I see his physique because full well, like, being honest, he's not winning this show, but he is winning. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I know exactly what you mean.
And he's doing it clean. He made that post the other day. He has, well, now it's more than that, 1,000 days clean. So congrats to him. And it always makes me happy, too, to see somebody who's in recovery to share their recovery with others, because there's a lot of other people out there that need to hear that message. And you see a guy like Antoine, it's like, hey, if he can do that, I can pretty much do anything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited to see his posing routine because he brings a house down at the smaller shows, right? His posing routines just blow people away at the smaller shows. So to see him on the big stage doing his routine will be great. I bet the crowd just goes nuts.
For sure.
Great poser.
This shot doesn't show his shape just based off the angle, but look at that. Just the nastiness of this condition right here.
Yeah.
That's great, huh?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him.
Yeah,
absolutely. So sorry, I derailed this a little bit, but I had to call myself an idiot publicly real quick.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Move forward.
So here's our list.
Akim looks really good. I have no idea what his body weight is, but he looks very hard and grainy, which is what he needs. I know those photos that were floating around. I think you sent them, Dusty.
Yeah, the two most musculars.
Yeah. Those look great. You pulling those up, Scott?
Yeah. I'm grabbing them.
He's finding Akim.
Akim is one of the guys that continues to like nothing's getting lost in his physique over the years. Usually stuff starts to like slip away.
Yeah.
Like there ain't nothing slipping away.
Really nice balance.
Awesome. And just so people who have never seen Akim in person, photos don't do his cartoonish physique justice. His waist is tiny and his lats hang. Like when he's just standing there, like you walk up behind him, you're like, what is
Yeah, he's very, very impressive. Very impressive.
Bonkers.
Yeah. And then we got Justin, which we talked about. Justin had a bit of a break, right? So that Justin had a break, which would be awesome.
What about our it's just bodybuilding favorite, James Hollingshead?
I'm really excited to see him. He's posting pictures showing that he's in great conditioning and he's getting harder. He's hard everywhere. He's strided everywhere. Yeah. I love how his physique looks on stage. You know what I mean? When he's posing, when he's running through his shots. I don't know what he weighs. Do you have any idea what he's weighing? But None. He looks great. Just thick, dense, hardcore muscle. We'll have to see him in the lineup. I'm really hoping that this can be, his best showing ever.
That'd be great.
It would be awesome to see James. I mean, the arms look a little bigger. Are his arms? Did he bring his arms up? Because there's something about him. Yeah. Yep. Very, very. The look of the physique has a hardcore, density to it. So
it does.
And it's Milos who's coaching him, right?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So Milos will be all over him. Yeah, Milos will be all over him. Man. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'd love to see him do awesome. Mohammed Shaban.
Yeah.
He's great. I mean, who knows how he'll place. What were you saying, Scott?
I was going to say the Horse MD guy. I want to see what he does. I just had his pictures pulled up here. I mean, is he going to have the size to hang with these guys? He has just some incredible shape. Here's a shot of him.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at those legs.
Yeah. He's got a great physique, man. Amazing structure, big popping muscle bellies all over the place.
Yeah.
We'll just see how he looks next to. There's some really big guys in this lineup.
This is back to the divider that people don't understand. Is think of all the pictures we've pulled up, and realize that someone in this group of 12 guys or whatever it is isn't going to win.
Yeah.
Like you put any of these guys in another show, a smaller show,
look at that side
and they're in it for the win, and you're looking at a guy like this going, he looks fantastic, but he won't be in the top 3. He won't.
I really like him.
5.
I agree, but I really like him. And now that I see that side leg,
like him?
And look at that rear delt on him, that in the separation, just everything is perfect on him. If you ask me, I would take this look if I could have a pro level physique. I'll take that. Thank you. I'm done.
Scott, have you seen?
If I could like anything without having to put in any effort at all.
Exactly.
I'll put in maximum effort to look like half as good as any of these guys.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. It shocks me to see. Oof. Look how grainy that is too. Look at his calf. What is
I'm just angry about the calves.
Yeah.
It looks like he has multiple calves.
Yeah, I know. Some guys get more than one set.
Yeah, that's why the rest of us don't have any. Bastards.
They took Dusty's.
Multiple people took mine. I got long ankles is what I have. Yes. Really long ankles is all I've got there. So I'm really excited for this, Arnold, because it's exciting to go into a show, and we've been saying this for the last couple big shows, not knowing who's winning.
Yeah.
Like for years, Scott, when I got into bodybuilding later than Ron did, but when I started going to all the shows, you always knew who was winning.
Yeah.
Like you knew who was winning for every Arnold I ever went to. I knew, and I was never wrong.
Yeah.
I should have been wrong a couple times, but it went the way that everyone thought it would. But whereas now you're really looking, and I do feel like even the top 3 was always relatively, you kind of knew.
Yeah.
I would not, I would not dare to guess who the top 5 is in order. Because there's 7 guys that need to fit in that top 5.
That 3rd, 4th, and 5th place is going to be crazy. That said, it's not a huge lineup, so I feel like we're in a position where everybody's going to probably get a good look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that people are going to get as likely overlooked here. There's that, and that just. Let me ask you guys this too. So Samson won last year. Is there anything with the Arnold? You know how with the Olympia you got to knock out the champ, that whole thing. Is there? Do you think there's anything at the Arnold where Samson will get any type of additional grace for the fact that he is the reigning champ?
No, because there's a Mr. Olympia there.
Oh yeah.
Hadi's the king. Hadi's the guy that has an Olympia title. To me, that Olympia title is like it follows you for the rest of your career. No matter what stage you stand on, it's like that guy's got an Olympia. And Dexter did it the whole time. He was so dangerous. He was a Mr. Olympia. You could never take that away from him. I think that Samson, being the returning champion, actually still has a hill to climb because Hadi's got an Olympia, which is actually good for Samson. I don't know. I think that maybe that he'll bring his best because of that. I don't know. I'm excited.
I also don't think it matters at all anymore because look at the Olympia last year. Derek did not knock out Hadi. So that whole mindset, in my opinion, they've thrown away. And I do believe there was a time that was kind of a thing. But I think as soon as Jay fell, and then because Ronnie didn't fall, he burned out, his body. But once Jay lost, and then Dexter lost again, like it started, and then Phil lost. It became a thing. Like no, Olympia guys lose, because for years they didn't.
Right.
Like Haney didn't lose, he left. Dorian didn't lose, he left. Ronnie just kept going, so his body shut down. I don't even count him as losing. Jay's the first one to say he didn't beat him at his best.
Right.
So I don't think it matters at all anymore. And that's what I love is I think that for whatever reason, whether it's the right thing or it's good for money, it's better if we don't know. Like I stopped caring to go to finals at the Olympia. Like I went to dinner a couple times. Like, I can beat the traffic if I just go to dinner now, because I already knew what was going to happen. So this year you can bet that, like every year at the Arnold, Ron and I will be there screaming. Only this year, Scott's coming.
Yes. So, just one more thought, because I know we had a bunch of other stuff. But so if let's say Hadi does it, he wins. Then second place goes to Samson. Now that means that everybody else going into up against looking for that third place spot is being compared against Samson, right?
Yep.
That's who has, in your opinions, who has the closest, and that's a freaking tough question. I can't answer it. Who can go up against Samson at Samson's game and
That's when you flip over everything I said earlier and you put Neckzilla in third.
It could be. It really could be. Who knows, man?
You suck.
Because as much as I just went on this whole tangent, That's probably who I would say would get third.
Put that list up again. Put that list up again.
Yeah.
We gotta pick
the same episode.
Gotta be a third, eh? We gotta pick a third. Is that what's going on?
And that's if, because it could go either way. Because if Samson won and then Hadi took second,
it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Then who's comparing against Hadi? It's either way, man. I'm with you. Like, I really can't figure this out. It does not.
Either way, the guy I said who couldn't make the top 5 comes in third.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had to pick a third, third, like let's just say Hadi and Samson are 1, 2 in whatever order.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough.
Yeah.
Who's already been to the O in this lineup? Well,
Justin,
Akim, Antoine, Justin,
James,
Mohammed Shaban, hasn't he been to the O? I thought he went to an O. Did he not go to an O? And then Raphael.
Yep.
So I mean, he's a huge threat for third.
Yeah,
he could be third.
I like Brando. Overlook him at the highest level.
Agreed.
For reason.
It's the size.
He always gets overlooked because he's not as big.
Yeah.
Which again, if you've ever seen him in person with his shirt off, for me to use the sentence "he's not as big,"
right?
Let's see him in the gym with a pump.
Even makes sense.
Yeah.
I've seen him in the gym with like a crazy pump, and I'm just like, how is that guy not big enough in any like sense of the word? It's just funny.
Yeah. All right,
that's my vote. Just so you guys know, I'm disagreeing with Dusty, and I'm putting Nexzilla in third.
I could totally see that happening. I would not be shocked.
Just lost an argument with myself.
You can tell yourself that you told yourself so after the show.
So we'll see. Conditioning decides everything, but he's a freak.
So before we got to everything else, I did want to ask on the theme of the Arnold, because I'm freaking pumped, because I'm getting in my car and leaving in like 2.5, 3 days right now. And I know I'm going to get to hang out with you guys. We're going to do all sorts of fun stuff at the Arnold. And there's going to be a bunch of other people coming to the Arnold too. And some of them have never been to the Arnold before. So as tradition, I would like to know, what are some things that people need to make sure they do when they go to Ohio this upcoming weekend?
Bring hand sanitizer. Dead serious.
Yeah.
That's a serious one, as much as we joke about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to be doing a ton of handshaking.
Well, you are.
And that's fine. Well, no, but people are too, because they're going to go meet people, and you're going to run into people and it's just a lot. And I find that the bathrooms are so disturbing that I prefer to use hand sanitizer to trying to wash my hands in those bathrooms. And I always wonder how many people watch me walk out and are like, that disgusting bastard. But I'm taking the hand sanitizer out of my pocket on my way out.
Right.
So, but no, that's one for sure. Also, bring a lot of money, because the Chick-fil-A sandwiches are very expensive there.
Oh, yeah.
But they're worth it. I introduced Scott to Chick-fil-A there. So
yeah, it's the only time I had it. They were only like half warmed up, and they were like flattened from being stacked on top of each other.
Completely terrible.
And I still remember, I still remember that sandwich.
I refied my house to buy that for you.
Hey, I bought that for you.
Here's a bit of advice.
I'm still making payments on it.
Here's a bit of advice for people. Ask yourself a question. Is it really important that you work out that weekend? If it's not, don't bother. It
would be terrible.
There's lots of great gyms in the area. That's the thing. Like, there's American Barbell just out of town if you want to go for I think it's like a 25-minute, 30-minute drive. Yep. There's there's all the Power Shacks. There's a bunch of them around town.
There's and then Metro Fitness Worthington. That's where Mike Davies' gym. Yeah, that's a good gym.
Yeah, Metro Fitness. And there's Pro Gym, which is where everyone's like, that's the gym that's like 2 blocks away. And they call it Pro, isn't it called Pro Gym?
I think so.
Used to be the Powerhouse, right? But they changed the name. But that gym's so packed that, the last several Arnolds, I didn't even bother going until Sunday night. Yeah, I just went Sunday night.
I haven't trained at the Arnold in years.
Yeah, I went Sunday night last year after like most people have started leaving town, right? And I had like a great workout. But I don't often train at the Arnold anymore because, I need my sleep. There's lots going on, and it is hectic.
But Ron will be training at the Arnold this weekend. I'm bringing my camera, guys. We're doing
a workout together.
We'll do something.
It's just bodybuilding bro workout.
Get some video of it for you guys. It'll be fun.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
So there's the expo. There is the shows, obviously. There's the amateur. I feel like the amateur gets overlooked, and there's not a lot of people going to watch that. If you go and check out the amateur, I guarantee you that you are going to see some incredible amateur bodybuilders from literally around the world. You may be one of the few people in the audience that actually speaks English, because it's like everybody's teams and their families and stuff like that. And they're all like, these guys are speaking in Arabic, and these guys are Italian, and you have these Japanese people over here, and these guys are freaking serious. These are guys that go to like the IJBB Worlds. These are guys that like pull out all the stops. Like, we're talking deathbed bodybuilding at its best. You had to get on stage at that 198.
Deathbed bodybuilding.
You like that? I just made that up.
That term is awesome. What is deathbed bodybuilding? It's people that are squeezing into weight classes they have no business getting into.
It's when you need a wheelchair to weigh in, They just wheel you up to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. Okay. There's that. And plan to what else? What about food?
Plan to just eat shit food or have all your meals. Like, so here's the thing with people are getting Airbnbs now because they want to have kitchens, right?
Yeah.
But I just cannot stand losing the ridiculous simplicity of staying in the hotel attached to the conference center. Like, I don't need a kitchen, man. I'm fine. I'll eat buffet breakfast, and I'll figure lunch out, and I'll take a few meals with me to begin with, and then I'll have, you know what I mean? Like, I got my whey protein and my bag of oatmeal, and other than that, I'll get some steak and fries. I'm okay. So if you're
not in prep, you don't want to lose weight. That's the thing I push on.
Yeah. Yeah, don't be so worried about everything. If you're off season, you're gonna be eating, and that's fine.
Yeah,
prepping. Okay, do your B&B thing, because there's no hotels with kitchens attached to the conference center. I don't think so.
Yeah, we're doing the most likely ice of some sort in the cooler to keep her food cold for 2 days. Because
there you go.
Stay at a hotel that doesn't get any. So that is a thing that people don't realize is, a lot of these hotels don't have refrigerators in them. And if you are in prep, you do need to bring your food. On a weekend like this, they may not accept putting your food downstairs separately.
Yeah.
They have an ice machine. Bring a cooler that can hold the ice, rotate it out every morning. Your food will not go bad. And, you can heat it up or not. It doesn't matter. It's 3 days. Just get your food in. Not a huge deal. Only thing that I suggest for my clients is either buying those packaged rices that you just have to heat up.
Oh, yeah.
Because they stay better, or tossing them completely and going to like rice cakes just for convenience, because you don't always have a microwave. Cold chicken, easy. Cold rice that's 5 days old that's now looks like it's been frozen.
No.
Been there. Not the best.
Yeah.
And for those of you not on prep, the Bear Burger across the street from the Expo Center is a really good burger place. Ron and I went there, and then we all went to that.
No, don't tell them that one.
No? Okay.
No, we don't want them to go there. It's small.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I think so. Okay. Is it the sushi / teriyaki place?
No. The Mexican place right across the street. And they had all sorts of tacos and stuff like that.
Yeah. I like that taco plate. That was good.
That was good.
That place was good.
Yeah.
If it's still there.
Can go there. We give them some options. I don't want to give them all of them, though.
All right. You got to keep your
secrets.
secrets.
On my date night, Jeez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about that taco place was the table that we got the first night we went. I wound up getting like the couch side. Oh. Like, you ever go to like...
You were like sitting on the ground too, remember? You're like real low.
Yeah. Remember, like, you go to the odd like kind of restaurant where they have like more casual seating, and like the chair doesn't match the table. The table's like here on your chest and you're sitting on like a cushy couch type of thing.
It looks good as you walk up to it, but the
it looks all inviting and like, it's like the cafe from Friends.
Yeah.
You know? And then you sit down and you're like, I can't eat like this. This is brutal. Can I have a normal chair? Oh, they're all taking shit. Yeah. I'm that guy.
That guy.
All right.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Well, I hope that helps. And we got through this without really much. Dusty did talk a little bit about the bathrooms, but I guess we'll probably get a good review, about the bathroom situation from Ron after.
Yeah. And remember, it is new people running the Arnold now, so it's possible they are, improving bathrooms year to year. We'll see. I think last year was a little bit of a step up, wasn't it? Didn't I come back and I wasn't as traumatized?
We were shocked. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was also because we went to Dubai before that. So the trauma.
The trauma.
Level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still in counseling, but anyways.
Yeah. Nothing was worse than what I witnessed in Madrid at the Arnold Europe in like 2016.
You remember all the way back. Yeah. This is almost a decade ago now.
When he said it.
I walked into a bathroom and there was like giant expo bathroom. It's nuts, and no toilet paper in any of the stalls, no hand paper anywhere, no soap, none. Like just nothing.
What do you do?
And then there's a bathroom attendant mopping, but he doesn't speak English, and I tap him and I'm like, soap, and he just goes,
just wipe on your shirt. You're fine.
Let's do that.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Stop shitting and pissing on your hands.
Yeah.
Simple enough.
What are you doing? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Ooh. What's next? We got some questions. Do we have some good cues? What about our Patreon and YouTube people? Can we do them? Right. Show them some love? Isn't that what's next?
We have all sorts of them. I know, Dusty, you had some good stuff too. So think if you've got anything lined up there. This one's just completely going to be off topic, but I had to start with it because I really liked Lucas's tone. Question for the next show. Sandwiches. I'm sure y'all love them.
All of us.
What's your go-to? Starting from bread, filling, sauce or not, veggies or not, sweet or maybe savory. Let's hear it.
I really feel as though Ron should lead off with his complicated sandwich.
Yes. Well, I can do bread, meat, bit of cheese, throw some barbecue sauce in there. I'm fine. I don't need anything else on my sandwich, though. I don't want your rabbit food on my sandwich, and I don't want any other sauces. I don't want spicy nothing. I don't want your white sauce. Just leave it alone. Just let me enjoy my rotisserie chicken and cheese and barbecue sauce. Plus,
what are your thoughts on like a chicken?
You put a bunch of vegetables on it, and it just gets so big and hard to hold and hard to bite into. It's just annoying. I want it easy to eat. I want to get this over with.
Sounds like he's going to the dentist. Make it easy. I want to get this over with. It's supposed to be enjoyable, this sandwich. Oh, that's fantastic.
This is, I think, mainly Ron. This is like
none of us have to answer.
We don't even have to. Yeah.
Nobody gives a what I put on my sandwich.
I just had been waiting to say that. Sandwiches.
I just like
you all love them.
I'm sure you all love them. We didn't have to answer. We could just skipped it and just moved forward.
Yeah. You all love them.
How about this one then? We'll go to this one then. Okay. Was there ever a moment or incident during your career where you had a sudden dawning of appreciation for the extremeness or extreme unconventionality of what you were doing? In other words, did you ever have a moment where you did notice something and you thought to yourself, wow, this is absolutely wild. People don't do this kind of thing. Basically like extreme bodybuilding where you're like, holy crap, this is next level.
I think like the closest thing I ever came to that would be like a couple of times right around the show, like when you're peaking or something and you see a new striation across your glute that maybe you never seen before or something, and you feel like, oh, this is like crazy, or someone asked me a question too. What are some of the things you notice when you're shredded? Like, what are some of the things that happen when you're shredded? that, maybe happen to you and don't happen to other people or whatever. That was a question I had. And it's sort of in there a bit with this question, because that stuff would trigger things. Like, I know when I get super peeled, I can feel my rectus femoris, that middle quad, that V quad. Yeah. I can feel it sliding against my outer quad when I bend and flex my quads. I can feel there's like muscle friction in there or whatever. I don't know what that sensation is. And in my forearms, when I pull my fist back, like pull it back like that, I can feel these muscles all like sliding inside my arm. And there's a hamstring, the outside head of my hamstring. I can feel it like sliding against. It's weird. I don't know how to other express it than that. But whenever I would get to that stage where I could feel certain things, I'm like, oh, I'm getting like really lean now. Like really lean. And I would think this is stuff that people wouldn't even understand. Like the average, like normal person wouldn't. They just look at you like, what? Yeah. That sort of thing. Dorian used to talk about his feet being so lean that it hurt to walk on tile floor. Yep. Like he would hurt backstage. His feet actually hurt all the time. Yeah. So, I mean, I've had that, like I've had where I'm like, man, like I got to put some slippers on or something. And I never wear those. So I remember those days, and that would make me think, oh, this is messed up. Like, or the jaw too. Another thing was like, if I got lean enough, my jaw felt like it moved weird. Like it felt like it had more range of motion almost, or like it was kind of not quite sitting correctly in the back.
All that fat was out of the way.
Yeah, there's just little things like that I used to notice. So those would trigger me.
The only thing that ever like really caught my attention was the first time I got lean enough, and was more important than not even really lean enough, tired enough that I remember I went for a walk and I stepped up one step.
Yep.
And I went, oh, the hamstring lifts the foot.
Yeah.
Like I knew which muscle did what when I would step. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, and not that doesn't obviously make sense, but I never had felt individual muscles do their job on an everyday activity. Like if you're doing a hamstring curl, obviously you know what's doing it. But just going through life, you're like, oh, this muscle is the one that I felt the most when stepping up one step. It wasn't like I did a flight of steps where I was like, oh, well, I'm tired. I'm like, I've reached a point where I'm tired enough to notice a single step. I like that.
Oh, yeah. There's an interesting thing that I've talked about with some guys. I don't know if we've ever brought it up on the show, but I feel like training while you're really lean, for some reason, it seems to improve your mind-muscle connection.
Agree.
Like, and I don't know if that's because you're so invested in the diet, so you want to train properly, so you just connect. Like, I don't know what comes first, the chicken or the egg, and the muscle connection while training while you're ripped. But there's something about training when you're ripped, like my biceps. Like I just remember like how they feel when I'm peeled and I'm squeezing them versus like when I'm off season. Just kind of a weird sensation that happens, and it makes you think like, oh, like I'm connecting better to things. And I remember every time I would be really shredded, I could feel everything on my back, like individually better. It's like I could separate them in my head better. And I don't know why maybe that's all something my brain made up. Who knows? Like, like a phantom memory from when you're a kid. Like that never happened. Yeah. But that's just how I feel.
I have to say one thing. Ron kept using past tense as if he's not shredded right now.
Oh, yeah, right? That's a good point.
Like,
good point.
Well, I kind of remembered. I'm like, you remember yesterday? That's impressive.
Yeah. Shredded is a state that occurs because of effort. I'm not putting in any effort. I just walk around looking like this, and I'm not shredded. I'm just lean.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I had to point that out for anybody who's about to see Ron at the Arnold, and he's like, wait a minute. Yeah, you're in single-digit body fat without question. So anyways, moving forward for the
Right. So if I lost like 5 pounds, I'd feel all these weird things again.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Sitting down. You sit down on like a hard seat or something, you feel the fact that you've got no fat in your butt, real quick. So my feet go numb if I sit on the toilet for too long all the time now.
So that contest prep thing that used to happen to you when you got real peeled, that happens to me all the time. I can't sit on the toilet. I can't waste time on the toilet. You know, you're sitting on the toilet and you spend like an extra 20 minutes on your phone. I don't do that anymore. I get my business done and I got to stand up because my feet are going numb.
Yes, that's all I got. Not much else. Right. And I got somebody going, your hip flexor lifts your foot. That's not what I'm talking about. Just tell me what I felt.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah.
Oh, before it happens, I want to jump in. I'm aware.
Mm-hmm. All right. What's the biggest mistakes that you see people making when it comes to their arm training?
Can I just use myself? Yeah. For most people, I think particularly biceps, you use more weight than you need to.
Yeah.
I used so many muscles to curl for so many years, and now I actually enjoy. I'll be curling, and someone next to me will be using 10 pounds more dumbbell than me, and my arm is now growing. I used to grab 60s, 80s for alternating dumbbell curls, and they would move from the side of me to my shoulder, but my arm had nothing to do with that. Nothing. So now it's like 40s. For a 40 on some movements, especially like a spider curl or something, that might be 30s. So that what I would say is the big thing for me was just way too much weight.
I think getting your arm volume right is important. I still think there's something about arms. Some people, they can take a lot of volume. Like I probably did more total sets for my arms and calves than any of my other body parts, but that's what I had to do to get them to grow. And these weren't growing, and then I did more sets for them. Whereas other body parts, that's not how it worked. You know what I mean? Like some of my craziest, like my legs were at their biggest when I was just doing like regular Dorian training all the time. Yeah. And that's not a lot of volume. Whereas my arms were not at their biggest when I was doing regular Dorian training. I had to have like an arm day, So yeah, just kind of thinking out of the box. Like you do what you got to do, and don't feel slaved into a certain amount of volume. Like, I do X number of sets for chest, and chest is a bigger muscle group than biceps, so therefore I should do less for bicep no matter what. Like that's how most of us think, right? Like big muscle groups get more sets, smaller muscle groups get less sets. But I think you got to be able to just flip that for a bit and see what happens,
Yeah.
So
it's good. How about this one? Tips for trimming body hair. He says, I use the Phillips one blade and set the guard so I leave 1/3 of an inch of hair, but it still makes me itch so bad I hate being alive for the next week. What can I do to help with the itchiness and to prevent it from happening altogether? He says, I use moisturizer and trim after the shower so my skin isn't dry or dirty. I prefer to have a trimmed chest and belly, but at the moment, it just isn't worth the itching.
I don't know what a Phillips one blade is. I have to look that up.
I'll look it up. Oh, you do?
Yeah. They're great. The only thing that sucks is I can't help him because I get none of that. It's just like a really good trimmer that's like a cheap trimmer that you can pop the blades off of that works really well.
Okay. Here it is.
I mean, you could use that to shave before a show, and it would be enough.
Oh, really?
Like that.
Yeah.
That's all I ever do is just clipper, and then so I would clipper all the time, and I always had like good clippers, like the type the barber would actually use on your neck. Good clippers. Like I had like $100 clippers, and I would just clip my whole body with that all the time. Like maybe every week or so I'd clipper, or every couple of weeks I'd clipper. And then about 3 weeks out from the show, I would start blading once a week.
Yeah.
And I would use a blade and I would actually shave like just so the skin got used to it.
Yep.
But I would do my last shave like Thursday before the show or something like that. Like I wouldn't do it like even Wednesday before the show, but I wouldn't do it like Friday because that would be too risky.
In case you got like an inflammation or cut or
something
like that.
Yeah, just saying like that. So I would, but yeah, I never had any of that. Clippers is awesome. I don't get itchy from clippers at all. So I don't share that guy's problem.
Yeah. Me either.
Yeah, and he uses moisturizer too, so I'm not sure.
I remember one year I did put Nair on my legs.
Oh, God.
Just to try it out.
Yeah.
And I fucking burned my legs, man, so bad. They were burned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had
that's
rashes
a mess.
all over the place. Yeah, that was a mess.
People don't understand too. They think that because I'm with you, Dusty, like just using clippers, I think is fine. And that's even for contests.
Yep.
I think that we think it has to be absolutely perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and the reality is we're removing the body hair so that the muscle can be seen, right? We aren't obscuring any kind of definition or anything like that. And it's just part of the look. But if you have a little bit of stubble, it's not going to be a problem at all. I remember seeing this might have been the year I got this cup. I was in line to see Branch Warren in the expo, and this was I think it might have even been like after the show, and I get up to him, and of course he is like a freaking monster, and I had not seen a lot of really like truly big bodybuilders up until this point. So I got to meet Jay that weekend. I got to meet Branch. But the thing I remembered about Branch is he's in that muscle top tank top, and those huge boulder delts had about as much stubble on them as my face on after I hadn't shaved for like 3 days. You just saw like hairs all over his arm. But guess what? It's like, wait, didn't you just compete? It's like, yeah, whatever.
Did you just win?
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. It just reminded me, by the way, that Jay's getting an award this weekend, so we'll get a nice little tribute video of Jay when we're at the show.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So that's
I
exciting.
assume that'll be at the finals.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. So
what's it like? They doing like
lifetime achievement,
something like that? Arnold Lifetime Achievement Award.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, I had one more that I had a guy at Junior Nationals who had done really good in the morning show. And I went to go see him in his hotel room, and he hits his front double bicep, and I realized he hadn't shaved his armpits. So he literally has like full on bushy armpits. And I was like, dude, you got to shave your armpits, And he's like, oh man, I really don't like shaving my armpits. I was like, you're going on stage to get your pro card. You shave your pits. And he reluctantly shaves them. And that was the year he did win the card, but all the judging had already happened, meaning that he probably would have been fine otherwise. Like nobody would have said anything. So
still good,
Yeah.
Still help him out.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
All right. Dusty, do you have one on the ready there? I know you had a few good ones.
I got one for Ron.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What's more disgusting, picking your nose or biting your nails?
Nose.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, you know where those nails have been.
Yeah, I would say
it's tough. This is a good question.
It's a good question. So how I look at it is there ever a reason where you have to pick your nose? And is there ever a reason where you have to bite your nails?
Yeah.
And I think that like I could see someone being like, I had to pick my nose. I had no tissue. There was something up there. It was fucking driving me crazy. I had to go deal with it.
Yeah.
I could see that. But biting your nails, I think that's like a real bad habit, sort of nervous thing that doesn't need to be done. I don't know.
Well, if your nails
are gross,
properly manicured, they'll never need
just taken care of. I don't know.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
the nails are something you can control for the most part.
The nose can just happen. Literally,
the nose can be not up to you.
Driving down the road, you tap your nose and realize, oh my God, there's something in there. It's sticking out, but I can't just get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need to trim your, this is funny, but I used to always say this to my employees because I made them clean the floors every single night. And they would always say to me, well, why do we have to do it? It doesn't need to be done. And I'm like, if it needs to be done, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
That means they're dirty. Same thing with your fingernails. If they need to be trimmed, it should have already been done.
Look at those puppies. Look how clean those are.
Even manicured pretty nicely.
See?
Well done.
I just take good care of them. That's just all me, guys. That's just all me. That's just all me.
Just spends a lot of time.
Yeah. You could go the opposite.
Sorry.
If you bite your nails, then you never have to worry about manicuring them.
I didn't.
They just look terrible.
They're all jagged.
I wanted to make sure I started with something very important and serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Of course.
We got that handled now. Oh, this is a fun one. Simple, but what do you guys think is the most overrated exercise, and what would you do instead?
I have an opposite question almost to that. I'll bring it up after.
Perfect. Of course you do. Sure.
Overrated exercise.
Yep.
There's a lot. There's some pretty trendy stuff that I think is a waste of time.
Yeah.
That's hard. There's so many.
How about are you thinking of machines, or are you thinking of just like free weight?
I immediately think bench press, but anyways.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going big picture. Dusty's going big picture.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the bench press can still be done in a way that can make it way better. It's most people do it in a very inefficient way.
It's not that it's a bad movement, but it is like the movement. That like I always find it funny. And this is how often people go, "How much you bench?" And not because it just why is that the measure of strength? I've always found it interesting,
right?
Because, for example, if you can incline, it's more impressive than if you can bench.
Before the 1900s, they used to ask how much you could overhead press.
Now that makes sense to me. It
kind of changed to the bench, but that used to be the big thing, I guess, like before the 1900s, where you'd be like, "Oh, how much can you press overhead?"
Yeah, which is standing, very impressive.
Yeah, standing, it's tough.
You ever see somebody do like a strict press, like no leg momentum at all?
Yeah,
I'm like,
I see someone do 315 with like locked hips, like just standing 315 from from the bar sitting on their clavicle, like from a clean, and just pressing 315 up standing is pretty impressive, man.
Yeah.
I think the worst exercise is I think the ones that are the biggest waste of time for most people, because they just don't get the bang out of them, is all the like unbraced, and I say unbraced stuff. Like you see people doing cable crossovers, but their body moves back when they do the squeeze, and they think that that's like better for the squeeze. Like they don't realize how much power they're wasting out the back end of the movement. Or you see ladies doing cable kickback movements with poundages that are completely unconsequential to their glute, like meaningless poundages that are just a complete joke to that powerful muscle, but they're not braced. That 1 foot they're standing on, there's no way they're braced enough to move any meaningful amount of poundage. So they would be much better off just loading up a hip thrust machine and doing extra sets of hip thrusts. Like it would be like getting $100,000 return on their $1 million investment versus getting a $10 return on their $1 million investment. That's the difference in how being braced can make that much bang for your buck difference. Obviously, there's a correct and incorrect way to perform every exercise, but anything you're doing where you're giving up power because you're not stable enough to really generate force, that's one of the problems I have with walking lunges. I mean, walking lunges can be done in a way that are more effective than others, and they can be placed in the program in a way that's pretty good, and they're a great athletic movement for coordination and all that stuff. But if your goal is just to get bigger legs, for a lot of people, walking lunges are really inefficient. And because balance is a factor, load is difficult. A lot of gyms don't have a squat rack at the end of their walk. Where are you going to do them? Like, are you picking the weight up and putting it on your neck? Well, now you're super limiting your load. Are you using dumbbells? Or how, like, there's just so many things. Like walking lunge can be done in an extraordinarily impressive way, or it can be a complete waste of time. And so, if your goal is to get huge, like a set of squats would probably do you better, or a set of hack squats even better. So that's just how I feel about being efficient in the gym. All movements can be made better than maybe some people are doing them, But at the end of the day, like, you know, your investment needs a return.
Yeah. Wait a minute. So on that note, you just brought something to my attention. Investment needs a return, right?
Okay.
Genius.
I hope I'm right.
So here's the thing. Stop doing calf raises. You either have them because you got calves or you don't. Like, no return on investment.
I've been working for that guy for 30 years. He hasn't paid me yet.
See,
that's good, Dusty.
That's a fact.
It's good.
We just got half the world to stop training calves.
It's good.
The other half already had. So
yeah. The guys with calves don't even train them. Why should the guys without calves train them? Scott, when's the last time you did 10 sets of calf raise?
My calf training is walking.
To finish the sentence, when you think about doing calf raises, go train arms.
Yeah.
There's your return on investment.
There you go.
Scott's done 10 sets in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Occasionally I'll do a set, you know, just for like Instagram. You know, just
right. Right.
Okay.
Set the camera up.
Yeah. Okay. Opposite. From Casey at Patreon. What lift did you always shun until you tried it yourself?
Thinking.
Hip thrusts. Hip thrusts for me.
It's funny. Hip thrusts actually came to mind.
Yeah.
I did them all the time, but never in the gym.
They weren't loaded vertically. Yeah.
Well, they were, but
short range of motion.
120
short range of motion.
Sorry. Hip thrust is definitely a solid answer.
I remember when the first time I used like a proper hip thrust machine, and I just like, I don't think I was even training. I was just feeling it out. But I remember, I don't know if there was like 2 plates aside on it or what, but I was just feeling it out. And I knew how you're supposed to do them. Like, you know, you're not supposed to lean back. You know, you're supposed to like keep your head up and your pelvis is just what's coming up and down, right?
Yep.
And I remember I got like a tiny cramp in my glute. Doing like the first set.
Toying with it. Yeah.
Just toying with it, toying with a light weight and just like flexing the crap out of my glutes at the top and driving my pelvis up. And I was like, oh, that's got a bite to it. That could be useful. I could see how that's useful. Okay. You know what I mean? I remember that. Yeah. I was never really that down on hip thrusts. I remember when they first came out, everyone was kind of like, oh, are people going to be doing these all over the gym now? Remember when hip thrusts first became a thing, no gyms had hip thrust machines. So people were doing them like the free weight area.
Yeah,
they're bringing like a barbell over to the dumbbell area and laying on a bench, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is in the way," and it was a big pain in the ass. I remember that.
Yeah. So mine would be Bulgarian split squats.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like the John Meadows way, you mean?
Yeah, and it's not that I didn't. I think back to typical me. Can't I just squat? Can't I just do this? And as soon as two things. One, stopped going all the way up. Did quick pauses, like a 2 count at the bottom and the top of the motion, controlled the negative, and also braced with my opposite hand. Like you said, Ron, took balance out of the equation. Those things are hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
and I mean,
that's a great pick.
I love them. So that and yes, to not ignore your statement, Scott, yes, John is the one who showed me how to do them correctly.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to add one little tweak because everyone goes against it. Some people say like on a Bulgarian split squat, some people go straight up and down with their glutes. Some people, their glute starts here and then goes back towards their feet. And people will argue one is wrong and one is right. To me, it's what do you want to feel? If I'm working my quad, then I want to go straight up and down and lean into my toe. If I want to get that glute involved, you let it swing back and forth. But that movement, I am sore every time. And for those who want a John Meadows special, all you got to do, he would have me start a 20-pound dumbbell, set of 15. 40-pound dumbbell, set of 15. 60-pound dumbbell, set of 15. 80-pound dumbbell, go to failure. Then immediately drop it and grab the 60, go to failure. Immediately drop it, grab the 40, go to failure. Immediately drop it, grab the 20, go to failure. That was the worst idea ever.
It was split
and then you do the other leg.
That's what that was.
Yeah, and then you would take a 17-minute break and do the other leg.
Yeah.
Oh, that was just me that did the break, but everyone else did normal. But that's something I like to bust out on someone who's like, oh, I want to jump in on a leg day. I'm like, I don't want you to come back, so we do that.
Yeah, that's a great pick, and you're right. It goes back to my exercise selection thing because I spent my whole life, I was aware of Bulgarian squats. I saw guys putting barbells on their back, hooking their foot on a bench, or holding two dumbbells and hooking their foot on a bench. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's a good exercise, like for balance and stuff and endurance and whatever they're training. But what a lame exercise for hypertrophy because they've got. Well, imagine having like a bar on your back doing those with your foot hooked. Like if something does go wrong, you're probably dumping a barbell and jumping out of the way, right? So I just thought that's just a terrible idea. I'm going to use a hack squat. And so I just thought that was a dumb movement for any bodybuilder to do. But then Meadows he starts doing them in the squat rack, holding onto the rack. So he stabilizes and just uses one heavy dumbbell. And I was like, oh, this is, I'm now interested in trying this. Yep. And it was a winner. Look at Donna. She shows up, eh?
Yeah, her hair's a little bit of a mess, but she came on and said she needed to lick my hand, apparently.
Well,
so, here we are. We are. So we're adding a third soon. So yes. I don't think that the third will ever be up on my lap because that will be uncomfortable.
Oh yes, she will.
Yes, than mine, but,
yes, she will. She will make it happen.
Yeah. We'll just move the piece over here. But yes, the powerful rescue that we've shown on here before. It's got a girl that they're working on for me. We're just working on her with some small dogs, so these two can get ready for another pit in their life. Look at her.
That's amazing.
That's Nova Gray right there. Some asshole lit her on fire, as you can see. So, yes, I get daily updates. Dog. Just so you guys know, and I'm partial, not gonna lie, but anyone who's near Texas, if you get a chance to work with this rescue, I don't know how they do it. They have 34 dogs there right now, I think. And right now, because they are working with her on some different things, and then my timing because Nikki shows and whatnot, but like. They're sending me pictures that we're on like a, with the iPhones where they upload them to their phone and they immediately come to mine.
Yeah.
Every couple of days I get pictures, videos. I'm like, they do it right. And the way they take care of these dogs. And she is an example of the dogs they take. Like if they got puppies the other day just because they were abandoned, they immediately take them to another place to get, help from. They get them started, then find them a good home and move forward. But they're all in the, older dogs with major issues, dogs that don't have front legs or whatever it is. And so super stoked. And I think I've been in love with this dog for 2 years since they got her. And I finally broke. I was like, I got to do this. So
and pit bulls too. Right. Yeah, pit bulls, they have a hard time adopting them out. Here in the Detroit area, there are so many pit bulls. My dog was a rescue. And, it's a shame, but people look at the breed, and they judge them by that. And then, at a dog that's growing like that, the likelihood of it finding a new home is going to be super, super low. So I'm all for that. I love rescues. I wouldn't want to do it any other way with a dog like that, with a pit bull. I just feel like that's part of it, is being able to help one of them.
I think it's crazy because in her case, before I realized I had like true interest, Duke was like, when she still had fresh scars. I mean, it just happened when they picked her up. Friendly, wanted to love up on you. You're like, wow.
Aww.
How? Like, how do you experience that and still, go through that? The only change is, of course, each individual person that comes in, you got to properly introduce. You can't just like let someone run into your home because stranger danger. Not that they'll do anything, that she's scared. So
stranger danger.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I cannot wait to bring her here, and Harvey's ready to have somebody because Donna doesn't actually know how to play, so it's quite funny.
Yeah.
You throw the ball, she chases Harvey and bites him like twice, and then she's like, all right, I'm done, and then lays down. So Harvey's alone on all of his playing, so she's quite excited. Yes. So random tidbit, since Donna came to the table, we want to let everybody know about Nova. All right, John, we gotta go. Say bye.
Bye, Donna.
Say bye. Bye, Donna.
Now the last 5-minute crew will be happy that she got in before the last 5 minutes. I always could tell who waits to the end because I'll hear Donna on the comments.
Yeah.
Harvey's busy, for those wondering.
I want to say something. I'll make this really quick. So the Kai Greene reaction video did really good, but we had a number of people who said stuff like this. I like Kai Greene, but geez, his gut is massive. And I did respond to one comment, but I wanted to say it officially on the show. It was a different time. You know what I mean? It was a different time in bodybuilding, and we didn't pay attention to guts, and like bubble gut, I don't think was even a term back then. And eventually, the bodybuilding decided that they wanted to change that, and then they put some thoughts in, and everybody has done a really good job at, I think, working on their ab control. But at the time, like, we didn't pay any attention to that. It wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't Kai's fault. You know what I mean? That, like, everybody back then had some level of stomach, and the amount of food that Kai was eating, there's no wonder that his stomach was stretched out so much. So that's my spiel.
We just all saw it as like for most guys, we were like, it's just the price of eating the food it takes to be massive.
Yeah.
The only people we commented on were the guys with like massive guts. Remember, like JP Fuchs, Jean-Pierre Fuchs had that like really huge distended abdomen. We're like, that's a little too much.
Yeah.
But like other guys like walk around 320. That's fine. He's just full of food.
Yeah.
Scott, I'm sending you a picture though, because like this is when I saw Kai win the Arnold.
All right.
In 2016. And I just, even to this day, I'm like, I don't see this gut.
Oh yeah.
That people are going so crazy about. Like, I understand if he breathes or turns, but like he is what, 5'8", maybe 285 here. I mean, I don't know what he used to weigh on stage, but I know I mean, in person, Kai is probably the second biggest person I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In my life. First being Marcus Rule. But like I just don't see why, he was in the gym when they guys are talking about this. It's like, I don't know. To me, I just don't agree. And I still think in today's environment, he'd be a nightmare for people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no question.
So even though we say it was a different time, I think it's a different time. And if Kai Greene was in this, if that Kai Greene was in this lineup, we'd be having a different discussion of the top three.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'd go with that.
My take.
He's awesome. I still think that like that whole look he cultivated with the Predator hair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just like totally unique. You know what I mean?
I used to love watching his prejudging because he posed different. Like even his quarter turns were art. How he had a different way of moving. The way he would hit a rear double. The finished version was fine, but how he got there, I was watching like every shot. I'm grateful that I actually got to go to the prejudging that year to watch in person. I feel like he was one of the guys you could really tell when he was on stage that he was doing his favorite thing in the world to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, I like to eat the most.
I'm really glad I got to see Kai compete many times. He was just incredible. And I remember the most mind-boggling thing about Kai was that he would come out at the Olympia and pose, and I would be, man, I can't believe this guy's not going to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because Phil was so incredible. Like Phil would come out and pose. I was like, nobody's beating him. And then Kai would come out and I'd be like, man, in another era, this guy would just be cleaning up everything. But Phil's in the way.
Right.
And Phil's just going to remain in the way because he's just a little bit better. And he's always better at every show. And, Kai beat him that one time at the Arnold, remember? And then after that, it was like, but that was a crazy, Kai's one of those guys, man. He's generationally unique.
I feel like back then, and I'll be curious to see what some of these people younger than me that are in the sport will say about who they view as the best. Back then, the battle between Phil and Kai was pretty close in my head. And then I look back and I'm like, no, it wasn't. Like, I had an emotional connection to Kai because I liked him. He was always super nice. I didn't really know Phil very well. And Kai was one of the first guys who I knew who he was, and I knew he wouldn't know who I was. And I was in the Newark airport, and then he did know who I was and made sure to tell me to, he came over and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I was like,
wow.
Oh, so it definitely like changed my perspective. But I did find that was why in my head their battle was closer than it really was.
Right.
I was like, oh, I just favored you a little bit. Because once I looked back, I was like, oh, yeah, no one was beating Phil. That was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. People used to ask me, why does Phil beat Kai? Because they were both so awesome. And I used to say that this is what I said. I don't know if it makes sense. But I said that the two reasons I thought Phil beat Kai is in the front relaxed. I thought Kai's neck looked kind of skinny and he didn't have any traps in the front relaxed.
Okay.
Right. I know what you mean. I can see it.
And it used to kind of bother me because when Phil stood in the front relaxed, he had traps.
Yeah, he did.
And it just filled in a spot for me that I just noticed. And then I felt that Kai's physique had more sort of sharp corners on it. Like there was more triangular stuff going on with Kai, and on Phil, everything was round. And I just remember thinking that's how my brain perceived some of the muscle groups, where there was just more roundness on Phil and more like sort of almost like Kai was like, those artists that like do things different on purpose. Like, like almost like that, which sort of suited Kai. Like,
yeah, very true.
You know what I mean? Like having like his back was a little more triangular in ways, and some of his biceps were peaked sharper, and he just had more like corners on his physique, and Phil was all round everywhere. And I just, for some reason, that's just what I saw. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, Kai was the best Kai he could be.
I thought you were going to say something more along the lines of like, they're both awesome, but Phil is awesomer.
Yeah. that too.
Like, I know how to answer that.
That too.
That's funny.
What else we got?
What's next, buddy?
That was about all we had. We had a few more questions, but I think we are about out of time. Do we need some type of a solid finisher here?
Yeah, let's do one more.
All right. Let's see. We had a training question about DC training. We had let's see, guidance about how far to take your sets. We had one about let's see, the sandwiches. I love sandwiches. The trimming body hair.
Screw with Ron.
Do you have a good finisher, Dusty?
I'm rolling through them right now while you're reading them off here.
All right. We can talk more about sandwiches. Sandwiches, y'all love them.
I mean, everyone loves a good Sammy. Good lettuce.
Everyone loves a good sandwich.
Mayo.
And comment if you're coming out to the Arnold, guys, for the last 5 minute crew. Comment if you're coming out to the Arnold. I want to know who's showing up from our crew to come and hang out with us. Dusty's got one.
I want to touch this just for fun because it's like a time bomb. Is it easier to coach women or men? And I actually think this is a good one.
This is a good one because it's easier to coach
coachable people.
Yeah.
None of the awesomer answers, Scott.
So, for example, coaching Nikki, Dusty's wife, has been like the easiest, and I don't mean easy, there's been, decisions to be made, but just the smoothest, like, gotcha, boss.
Yep.
No problem. Considered, executed. Done deal. Oh, results have occurred. Oh, more results have occurred. Yes, did it. awesome, good. Like, it's just insane. Obviously, she lives with Dusty. She trains with Dusty. But the coaching experience with her, she might as well be a top 10 Olympian with how calm and
that's great.
Like, just ridiculously executable, right?
Yep.
And now, because of that, we find ourselves in a position where she looks really good 6 weeks out. We're very excited.
Yeah.
So I think most people would generically say that men are easier to coach because, women have more statistically, women are going to have more issues with food. There's more higher incidence of, food related eating issues or psychological attachments to things, and like statistically. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the person, because I've dieted plenty of guys that were head cases too and had all sorts of, nonsense that they just couldn't get past in their heads. So, not someone who doesn't have someone who's ready to do what they got to do and they're calm about it. But good question.
What about you, Scott? Like, what? Obviously, I know that we all agree with what was just said, which is just it's the individual. But what are
usually easier to coach men?
Yeah. What is it easy? Like, what are things that make it more difficult to coach anyone? Like maybe something in their head or whatever, or something that makes it easier to coach someone. You know what I mean? Because, like in my head, the thing that I'm getting at is like for Nikki, for me, I always just loved the process. I never, like, even when I was vying for my pro card, I never thought about the finish line during a prep. I just did what I was supposed to do every day. I didn't even really get hung up on the results because I understood that I hired someone I trusted.
Yeah.
And he would take care of it if I put all of my focus into the day-to-day execution.
That's a good mindset.
I would send pictures and not think, and I always felt that made me invincible. Like, a lot of people, for example, like Chris used to laugh, but the last couple of days before a show, a lot of people are really like amped up because things have got to change and I got to do this, I got to do this. And Chris used to come to my room. He'd be like, all right, pose. And he'd run me through the shots in 19 different plots in the room. Everyone knows that. And then he'd go, okay, eat this. And I would eat it. And we'd chat for a minute and I'd go to sleep. And he'd come knock on my door and wake me up and I'd do it again. For 3 days. I slept all day, every day for 3 days, other than when I posed.
It's perfect.
And he used to laugh because he's like, you're so relaxed. And I'm like, I don't need to stress. You do.
Yeah.
I just have to execute. So what are some things you think make it easier and or harder that people could maybe even try to avoid?
Yeah, because I was trying to think like one or the other. And I've known coaches who've said one or the other. I know one coach who works with a lot of women and he stopped coaching men. He was like, you know what? A lot of the good male pros have more of an attitude, an ego of that they know how things should be done and they know their bodies and this is what they want to do, versus the women are like, hey, I hired you for a reason because you do a really good job at this, so I'm going to listen to what you say. So, I have heard people say that.
You said Shelby out loud like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But then, yeah. But I think the best people, you just mentioned it, Dusty, like the way you said, I guess I don't have anything to add to it, You just, people who are just like there to have the experience. The easiest people, the most fun people are the brand new people who are competing for the first time. And they're like, hey, you're a good coach. You've done this 100 times or 1,000 times. I'm excited to see how this works. You show me. And then they're like, what are we doing next? And then we're like, oh, we're not going to do anything with the water. And they're like, oh, really? Why? It's like, that's exciting to me versus when you have expectations of what you think you're supposed to do. Because I'm thinking it out more now. I've had clients who've worked with me longer term. And if we start doing something different than we did last time, sometimes they start to bite back a little bit. And they're like, but wait, we did this last time. Why aren't we doing that now? You know what I mean? Right. And they have those expectations. So, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to add one little thing that just for clients, my clients, your clients, those who want the best results for it to go really, really well are those who train the hardest in the gym. Like if you want to see results when people go, oh, I don't have to do, this guy doesn't do as much cardio. Usually that guy trains his nuts off.
Yeah.
Like, and again, not across the board, but there is a correlation between how hard someone trains and what their cardio looks like, how much muscle mass they maintain. I can't stress it enough, the importance of that piece of the puzzle. And I hate it because that's the piece I can't touch online. You know, like I've seen you train hard, but it's those who can do that when they're smoked.
But Dusty, is that something you can teach somebody even? Because like, listen, when I first went in the gym, one of the reasons I fell in love with it, I fell in love with it because I loved that I could be crazy with the training. You know what I mean? Yeah. And down the road, I could take it to new levels, but it started out with that interest. Whereas some people, it's like, they just don't have it. They have no ability to push intensity.
No, I think there's definitely a case you can't train some of it, because I've had clients, and I can say it now because I got rid of a client, good guy, but what we ran into was he would argue with me. He would send me video, and it would be nowhere near intense, like not even a question. And I'd go, you can do more than that with more weight. No, I can't. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that moved very easy.
I'm telling you that we can add multiple plates to that leg press and 10 reps.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was like, I'm stealing from you because how I do this won't work. So hire someone else. And I'm not mad at you. We just can't do this, you know?
Yeah.
And he was shocked, but I'm like, there's a difference between, like, if I say, Ron, I think you had one more rep there. Well, did or didn't. Is it really worth it to risk it? Probably not. So I'm fine. But if I'm like, you had 90 more pounds and 10 more reps at least.
Yeah.
We're not even talking about the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
And for you to get in shape, we're going to need 3 hours of cardio.
Yeah. Or you're going to have to do 30 sets per body part twice a week.
Yeah, exactly. You have 7 hours to devote to training per day.
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's it.
That's a coach's dilemma. And, you know, to be honest, I think most coaches that do it full time always have at least one client where they're kind of like, man, I might have to cut this guy loose because I just don't know if I can get him to train hard enough to, like, you know, you're trying to, you know, part of your job is to try to motivate people, you know, like, but some coaches, like, they're like, that's not I'm not in that business. I'm not like Chris Aceto's job is, he's not in it to motivate anybody.
That's not happening.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Chris is like, I'm here to, like, you need to look this way to compete at this level. That's all I care about. Like, Chris isn't going to listen to you bitch about your wife or your job.
I couldn't picture that.
He's not going to read. He's not even reading that text. He's just skipping over it, looking at your photo of your back double bicep, and he's looking at your body weight. And then he might have read the little blurb about how you passed out in the hallway yesterday. But maybe. And he might care about the passing out at work. He might care. He might not. Probably not.
That might be good news.
So when you think,
good, you're finally depleted.
Yeah. So yeah, good. Oh, okay, good. You're passing out now. Okay, we're rock bottom. I told Jay in 03, this is where you got to go, buddy. You got to find rock bottom.
Did you see that that tweet that Trump made last week? That's gonna be his next line.
Yeah, it all goes in this random.
So there's a tweet about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want, like, the other competitors that are using their coach for, like, an emotional balancing pole, and an eating disorder consultant and a stress management tool and all that stuff that you think your
untrained medical doctor.
Yeah, untrained medical and psychological therapist. You know, you think that your coach is there to get you through everything and get you to the stage. Like, I don't know. Not all coaches are in the business of holding your hand to the stage. Like, you know, it has to come from you. You got to really want to do this. I'd rather my coach was really good at making hard decisions than really good at dealing with nonsense.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's great. That is very well said.
Like, You know, my coach makes me feel so good. Okay, but results matter, you know? And hey, they might be a great combo. Maybe that coach fits that person. They happen to work together well, but I don't think many coaches can be a therapist for all 50 clients or, you know, whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? And God, they probably hope all 50 don't need a therapist, you know? So
I always like those rare clients that are in prep where you're getting close and you realize you never hear from them. And so you just kind of like send out a feeler sometimes. You're like, is everything good? And they're like, yeah, why? You're like,
yeah, my glutes are really ripped this morning. I didn't want to bug you.
You're like, oh yeah. Or those, and you're just like, and it's not that they're not saying too little or anything. You're stunned because everything is okay, got it, boom, which is how I always was. But it's still a little surprising when you coach enough people, when you get someone who just executes. And then you're like, this is the best you've ever been. They're like, yeah, I thought so too. Like everything is right here. Like there's
there's a reply. There's a coaching reply. There's a meme of a coaching reply. And it can be the most professional reply of all time, or it can be a dismissive reply of a bad coach. No changes. You know, sometimes no changes. That's the most professional response you're going to get from an experienced veteran. And then no changes can also be they didn't even look at your pictures. Yeah.
So true. All right, I like that question to finish it off.
There we go. That was good. That was fun. A little fun with that one. You know. Well, I got to, we're done the episode, so it's time to get back to those emails. Got some emotional
support
emails to answer. Got some work to do. Got to talk to somebody about their marriage. Got to help somebody make a work decision while they're on low carbs.
It's only competitors that aren't allowed to do that. The rest of you, pour it in. It's fun.
Yeah. Just kidding. Just kidding. They're all great. Remember, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Remember, IamMutant.com, supporting the show Born Hardcore. Mutant will be reborn hardcore at the Arnold Classic this year. Come and see us at the booth. We will all be there. You might even get a spot on the couch if something crazy happens. So come down and visit us for sure. And remember, Dusty 20, Big Ron 20, 20% off. Get your ISO Surge, get your all in, and everyone should get on the gear. Do we have any last words to add, gentlemen?
See you
this
Arnold?
week.
Yeah.
See you at the Arnold. How was our coverage? We only skipped a few people.
This is good. I think we nailed it.
We've ever done, and still terrible. But
it was easy because there was like two guys to focus on. They made it simple for us, right?
Yeah. Don't come to us for coverage. Okay, remember everybody, it's just bodybuilding.